Hi, I'm Ruth Parker from Alexander Associates. I'm here with Justine Wynn, who has agreed to take part in an interview for our hashtag She's an Engineer campaign. Justine works for ISS, looking after the schools in the London Borough. Thank you ever so much for agreeing to take part. Most people shudder when we ask them to sit in front of a camera, but it's great to get to meet you, get an understanding of your career and how you've gone from where you started to here you are now. Mm-hmm. So you're currently working with ISS,
yes,
and you're looking after the schools in the London Borough.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about what kind of your day entails, kind of what you actually do with ISS? That would be great.
So I've been with ISS since April, so that's when we took on the contract with them. My actual job title is plumbing mechanical engineer, which in a nutshell, basically if there's water involved, you'll find me there, whether it be in the sink, in a void, whatever. It's attending to reactives.
Yep.
So in a school, you think of anything that's got water, heating, radiators, toilets, showers, baths. That's pretty much my domain. Mechanical part comes into the plant rooms because obviously these are big buildings. So if you think of your home, everything's quite small. So in a plant room, you'll see exactly the same. So you'll see pipes, but bigger pipes.
On a mega scale.
You'll see pumps, but bigger pumps.
Yeah.
So everything's like it's looking under a magnifying glass. But everything needs to be maintained. So belts need to be checked because they run motors. Motors have a certain sound to them, and they will then pump water around the building. So if you're on the first floor, you get the same pressure as if you're on the 10th floor of the building.
Right, okay, yep.
So that's day to day. It's reactives, meaning if there's any outages, something goes off, electricity goes, water goes, you go to your tap, no water.
Yeah.
Who do you call?
You're going to get a phone call.
So that's the reactive side. On the PPM side, which means planned preventative maintenance, that's just going in, doing your visual checks, making sure everything's greased up, motors are running, there's no vibrations. So if you sat in a classroom, you don't hear the anything. Okay, what's that noise? So again, we do all of that. So you'll see us front of house, you'll see us in plant rooms, and being mobile, we're also on the roads, driving vans to and from various sites.
Okay. And you, within your team, how many of you are working within your team on this particular contract?
On this contract, I'm part of a small team. There's 4 of us.
Okay.
So we have 2 HVAC guys. We do the heating, ventilation. And then we also have another mechanical.
Yep.
And then myself.
And yourself.
And then our supervisor as well. Can't miss him off. So 5 of us. And that's management. We ignore them.
Yeah, very wise. And you're the only woman, I'm assuming, in your team, or is there another one?
No, I'm the only lady.
You're the only lady on the team. And in your previous team, were you the only lady on the team?
Yes.
You were. Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Well, this is what we find predominantly across every sector of engineering. If we're really, really, really lucky, we can get one woman within engineering in that team, and there just needs to be more, which is where these videos kind of came from, is to raise awareness of engineering across the spectrum as a career, and to start women really thinking about that is a choice for them. This is not jobs for the boys, jobs for the girls. This is a career choice for everybody.
Absolutely.
How did you I can't imagine as kind of a 10-year-old you had a desire to be a plumber, because that's normally not how they make their career choice. How did your career path go to get you to where you are now? What did you finish school, do A-levels, go to university? Did you do apprenticeship? How did you get to where you are?
So my life is very much back to front. So I started off doing the usual education, O-levels, A-levels.
Yep.
And that shows my age now. I don't know what they are today, but it's all exams. Then I did my degree in, again, strange title, institutional management.
Okay.
So from that, it was geared around hotel and catering.
Okay.
I don't know why they didn't want to limit it to be in hotel and catering management because they thought that was too pigeonholed. And this was in the 90s. Don't work out my age. So I did institution management. From there, went into hospitality. And we ended up doing management and hospitality for a decade. And then after hospitality, I thought I'm going to be like from the sitcom Two Suits, like little old lady. And all my staff were getting younger and younger. And I'm thinking, okay, Granny has to give over here. So then from that, I went into recruitment for hospitality.
Right, okay.
Did a few years there, decided it wasn't for me. I'm just not a salesperson. And then from recruitment, I then went into office management for BP. So after BP, I realised admin, I've done everything I want to do on that side, and I'm ready for a new challenge. I also had a period of time when I was unwell, so I had ME for 3-4 years, and I was literally wheelchair bound. My life changed, blah, blah, blah. On the plus, medication wouldn't treat it, but I went through quite a stressful, daunting period of my life. And I just thought life is short, Justine. So I went to a couple of interviews for office management again, and I thought, I just can't sell myself here.
Yes, it's not what I want to do.
What I want to do.
Yeah.
It's way too short. And I just said, you know what? I'm going to retrain. I'm going to become a plumber. Because I thought all the things I love hospitality, which is hands-on.
Yeah.
I don't want to be desk-bound. I enjoy problem solving. I enjoy people. But ultimately, I want a job that I can just make a difference today and get some satisfaction and be away from all the politics of emails and who's copied in and who said what. And that's how it all stemmed from plumbing. So all my friends and family went, oh? And I just went, yeah, man, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And I had to have a long consideration as to how, because obviously this was now a late career change. I was in my 40s.
Yeah.
So people thought, you're having a midlife crisis, Justine. I said, no. I said, tell you what, when you want a tap changing, when your washing machine breaks or your heating goes, you're going to be calling me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Justine.
Yeah.
So I had faith in myself, and I looked at various courses, but also I had to be realistic because clock's ticking. And I thought, blimey, there's all these courses you can do in the evening, but these can be like 5 years.
Yes.
And I get the 2 suits. I'll be going, you got your tap changing?
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, so there's a 3-month, I think it was 6 months fast track plumbing course. And I thought, okay, so that will give me the qualification. But then I know qualifications are one thing, experience and hands-on is another thing.
Yeah. Practically being able to get out there and do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was just, I was thinking this is just never going to happen. The reality is I'm going to have a qualification, and from what I've read and researched, doing the experience to get your actual qualification is the hardest part, where most people tend to fail because they can't get through that front door. They can't afford to have that experience to get the portfolio done.
Do you think being a woman and being somebody who's come into the industry older, do you think that made it more difficult? Did you find that when you'd done your qualification and you were trying to find something?
Well, I was lucky because I was at BP, and I thought, you know what, at the end of the day, I'm going to do this course. And there's a female company called, believe it or not, Stopcock.
Yes, I know them. Yes, they're amazing, aren't they, what they've done?
So
yeah.
I reached out to them, such an American one. I reached out. I called.
Yeah.
And I just said, look, this is my age. This is what I'm going to do. Would you then take me on? And at the time, they just said, look, just at the end of the day, we do a lot of retrofitting, blah, blah, blah. So we wouldn't be able to take you on because you've got to get the experience. So I said, okay. So then I was really scratching my head because by then I was thinking, I really want to do this.
Yes.
Like nothing else has inspired or fired me up.
Yeah.
And then on the last day of our contract as BP, because we completed that contract, the project was finished. And one of the guys said, Jess, what are you going to do now? I said, I'm going to do plumbing. He went, you know what? You need to speak to my mate. He's a 60-year-old boy. What there isn't to know in plumbing, he will not know. But he does everything. Give him a call. And I just went, really? Oh, yeah. This is amazing. And this
what you need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Retired engineer. So the gentleman who I was speaking to, he was in his 70s, white English. And his plumber mate, Fred, in his 60s, Irish boy, white. I thought this is going to go down well. So I called this guy. I said, Fred, yes. I said, I've been given your name and I'm going to do a plumbing course. Right. He goes, and I believe you may want a hand and maybe we can work something out. How old are you? Oh, Doris. Oh, I don't want a Doris working for me.
Oh, no.
He just went, I said, okay. I said, all right. He said, I'll tell you what, Doris. He said, you what age? I said, I'm 40. I'm in my 40s. He went, you do know you have to get underneath a sink. And of course, there's all these other Irish boy, all the gents.
Yeah.
I said, that's fine. We'll do that. Long story short, so I did my plumbing qualification, spent a few days with Fred out and about. We got on well, had good banter. He also taught me so much.
Brilliant.
And did my qualification. And then at the end of the last day, he just said, Doris, do you want to come and work for me? All of that experience brought me into the place that I am now because I decided with Fred it was great. Money-wise now, I'm not getting paid. Nothing's going to change. It was always a case of, you're never good enough. You're never going to be this. You're never going to be that, blah, blah, blah. And I just thought, and my confidence is now, it should be riding high.
Yeah.
And it's actually each day, my shoulders are getting lower.
Right. It's taking a hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was always, as soon as I picked it up, oh, you're too slow, Doris.
Right.
And it's because I now look back, and it's just, he just didn't want to pay me the extra money. And the more I did, the more he'd then have to say, okay.
Yeah.
So,
It's a shame.
yeah.
Yeah.
So with that
Brilliant experience. Yeah.
experience, I mean, yeah, I took the hits. It was hard.
Yeah.
I did a lot of self-talking to myself, going into work. I remember going like, just, you can do this. Just be calm, watch and learn. And just accept you're not going to get your hands on the tools.
Yeah.
But just absorb everything.
Yeah, what's what they're doing. Yeah. And so you were working on quite big projects, but it was just the two of you, was it? So did you come across other kind of mechanical and plumbing teams on site?
Yeah, this is all domestics.
Right, fine. Okay, so
we had a group of builders, which again, they weren't used to a female being there. This was my first inroads, if you like, into the tradie world.
Yes.
So I was completely, although I'd have lots of experience in different parts of life, this was completely new to me.
Yeah.
So in terms of where I was there to where I am today you see me in uniform, safety boots, PPE and all of that. You know all about safe lifting, asbestos, all of that. But when you work with domestics, there's none of that.
No.
Crocs, flip-flops, whatever, shorts, anything goes. But at the same time, it's an experience that you just don't get in the corporate world.
Yes.
Because the stuff you have to do and see, I think is part of what makes me different in my experience I can bring to the corporate world.
Yes.
But yeah, it's very, very two different worlds, but both are very good. I think domestic-wise, because the guys got to know me, they knew that I was an equal part of the team.
Yep.
But initially, I mean, you can
say, how did you become an equal part of the team? Because I would imagine when you first walked on to site, they didn't believe, for starters, that you were a plumber. And then, did you have any? Were you welcomed with open arms, but you were a bit of a novelty? Was it kind of? How was the banter? How did you cope with that? Was it actually, it wasn't anything negative? Was it fine? Lots of people have lots of different experiences when they go on site.
It was, it's strange when you look back, and I think my attitude in life is you've got to earn respect. You've got to prove yourself. It doesn't just come to you. I don't want them to treat me differently.
No.
So from day one, and obviously we knew Fred because he does a lot of major refurbs. So he's known across several building teams. So word had got out, oh, Fred's got this Doris, and I was always around this Doris. And my name Justine was never, nobody really knew I was called Justine. They really thought I was called Doris. So when I was away from Fred, the guys on one-to-one, very, very different.
Yeah.
With really open conversations and sometimes how they felt. And it was like almost like them brother-sister relationship.
Yeah.
When they were back as a herd.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's like, yeah, God, here we go. Corporate world, it took me a while to adjust to the corporate world because having come from that experience, it's like going from junior school where you could wear whatever you want into corporate world. It's like, there's your uniform. I felt like I was in the army. There's your boots. I'm like, Jesus, boots.
I'll just make sure I don't drop anything on my toe.
I came home with a bag. I literally felt I'd joined the army. I just went, bloody.
Wow.
It's daunting.
So when was your first job when you left Fred? How did you have a job before you left Fred? How easy was it to get something? How did you get that job in the corporate world?
So my first job, it was through a friend of a friend.
Right.
And she said, look, my other half, he works at Mighty. I now need to make a living from it.
Yep.
So I followed that route, met up with her husband, had a very open and honest conversation. He went, you do realise you've done the qualification, you've had the experience with Fred, but you're just at the beginning of your apprenticeship. And I thought, yeah, I know that. And I thought, thank you, because I feel I know a lot, but I don't know enough.
Yep.
And I don't really have the experience. And that's why my confidence, it goes from high to low.
Yeah.
I have a good day, a bad day. If I have a bad day, it knocks you for six.
Yeah.
So I used to thought the best thing I can do is come meet the team, see if you want an apprenticeship. At the moment, we've got an opportunity for older people and for women.
Yeah.
So he said, timing-wise, bizarrely.
All perfect. Yes.
But he said, I believe you, because I've seen the sacrifice you've made. And to anybody to do that, and at the time, you just, I don't see it as a sacrifice because it's something you want to do. But I just said, well, yeah, I really want to make this work.
Yep.
And that's how that door opened. So went through a series of interviews, talked how I would fix things so they could base my experience. And then went in, it was with Mighty. So I joined Mighty, and the contract that I joined after 5 months was coming to an end. So everybody was starting to leave.
Yeah.
And it was then myself and another apprentice. He was a Sparky, electrician. And that's when I really started to fly.
And was there anybody, obviously, when you talk to people about this is what I'm going to do, there was kind of the shock, which is people would have. But then was there anyone, like when you went to get a job that was really good for you, go for it? Like everybody, when you talk about it, everybody you talk to seemed to have a, really? Well, why on earth are you doing that? Rather than, and are you sure you want an apprenticeship? You know, this is what this is going to mean. Rather than that's absolutely brilliant. Were there people that had that reaction to it that you were working with that were, this is brilliant, well done you?
Yeah, you always get a mixed bag. My mum was probably the most really supportive. She was just, she went, just do it.
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah.
I know. We need more women out.
Yes.
She said, I hate it when I get a problem here. You can fix all my issues.
Yeah.
I said, well, my house isn't exactly falling down, you know? You got the baby for me. I think some of our friends just thought, oh, Jess is just having one of her mad ideas. But they used to be also doing various career changes after long stints.
Yeah.
And I think because I was so clear as to what I wanted from my life, what I enjoy, they just kind of like went along with it.
Yeah.
Because I think they knew it wasn't just a flyby thought.
Yeah.
And I've always been not a loner in life, but someone who I don't believe there's barriers.
I don't think you could be a person who believes there's barriers that stop you from doing what you want to have the career that you've had and to get to where you are. I think you've got to be, and I think that's the other thing about engineering, why it has to be known for now. It's for everybody. Yes. It shouldn't be people that just are prepared to break down barriers and are prepared to step out of the rural comfort zone. I think it needs to be made inclusive for everybody. You talked about the way that, plumbers react to other plumbers on site. And that's why you need diversity, because you changed that, well, no, I'm happy to get involved and I'm happy to help. Yeah. Whereas actually, if you had a plumber who's done it for 25 years, they're not prepared to make those kind of changes either, which is why diversity with any sector is so important, because it's different attitudes, different values, different opinions all coming into one area.
I think the world today is a great place, despite all the
negative.
But in terms of people's openness, people's willingness to accept, I think is definitely making a massive impact. And when I think back to the person I am today, would I have this career when I was, today, it's massive. Because when I was younger, there's no way you could even think about, I was banned from playing football as a little girl. Because even though I used to play with all the boys and they all wanted to be on the football team, you couldn't.
There was no place.
Lionesses again there are making absolute, and you see it. Even my next door neighbour, the mum's now playing football because her daughter plays football. So I like to think in engineering, it's definitely becoming more acceptable. It's no longer, I think when I first joined 10 years ago, staying into this career, people were so shocked. They're like, both my colleagues and the clients, they'd ultimately talk to the guy about the problem, and then my colleagues are going, she's a plumber.
Yeah, actually, it's her that you need to talk to. I can't help you. Yeah. And I think that thing about representation, when you talk about the lionesses, how important representation is, which again is what these videos are about, because what we want to do is show women that there are other women in engineering.
Absolutely.
You can be a plumber if you want to. There is nothing to stop you doing it, because look, Justine's done it, or look, Kat's done it, or Emily, who we interviewed, look what she's done with her career. And that's the representation now is so important. Love social media, hate social media, and there are bits of it I really don't like. But for representation, for showcasing that you've got this skill, you can use it in this sector, I think is so good. And that's where it has been positive.
And I think to attract not just women, I think young people into this industry, I think they need to move away from always seeing as engineers hard hat, high vis goggles. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, people think, oh God, it's a dirty environment I'm working in. Plant rooms, I work in old plant rooms, so they are quite cranky.
Yeah.
But if you go into a new build now, technology.
Yes.
Everything is operated with technology.
Yep.
All the valves open with technology. Mm-hmm. So the whole industry is moving. You got pipe slicers. Now they're, even from when I've started out, they're electrics. You don't even have to do manual plugging of pipes. So everything's changing.
Yeah.
So equally, I look back and I think when Fed was starting, as a female, there's no way you could have done that industry, because it's not putting myself or my sex down. It's, at the time, it was heavy. It was heavy lifting. So I'm not saying you can't do it, because we can. But do you really want to burn your body out like that?
Yeah.
So I think women are sensible there, you see.
Yeah.
I think which is not...
And women's bodies have different challenges to men's bodies.
Absolutely.
So yeah, there are things that we have to put up with that men don't even have to think about.
Talking of which, when we go back to the domestic, that's one thing I hated. Toilets.
Yeah.
Because there's no toilets. The system's all out, isn't it? It's a bucket. And that used to be...
My goodness.
That used to be the biggest stress of my day.
Yeah.
And I used to go, oh, please let there be a coffee shop around. And of course, I'm with Fred, draining down systems. I'm desperate for the loo.
Yeah.
Men would just all go out and do what they have to do.
Yeah.
But that was the hardest part. So when I came to the corporate world, that's one thing that kept me in the corporate world, thinking, oh, there's toilets
Yeah. There's a real
but there's other toilets I can
use. Yeah.
So, there's, as I say, the world is changing. Corporate world now, I think if they move away from the hard hat, boom, 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 and actually show that for the industry it is very clean.
Yeah.
Now, on sites, you don't get the sway. If you look around in the construction sites, there's so many rules and regulations.
Yes.
There's no smoking, no littering. It's completely different.
Yeah.
The sense of achievement you have, and that then builds your confidence. So I think it's a fantastic industry, and there's so much diversity and scope out there. But yeah, as you say, it has to be seen that everyone's face fits in the industry.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a career for you.
Definitely, and I know you can think, oh, you then negate all that experience you get to make the person you are today. But I think had I known there was a chance, an opportunity, I did my level 3, which is a 4-year, 1-day release course.
Right.
It's a longer time.
Yeah.
And the reason why I'm saying this is, again, I was the only female mature student, vintage, student on the course at the group.
Were you the only female on the course, and then the only mature student on the course?
Yeah, so I was with the down and dirty boys.
Yeah.
From the 17th to the next closest would be 35.
Right.
So that was a day release course, and part of it was going back over plumbing, which I didn't mind because, as I said, I did that fast track.
Yes.
So now I could do it and look at it with experience and really get more out of that subject matter.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, oh, here we go again. No, all this yada, yada, yada. I was like, oh,
yeah. I know this. Yeah. I could tick. Yeah.
So, I did that. And that taught me then the plant room, mechanics, ventilation.
Yeah.
It was if you like, a pick and mix.
Yeah.
That gave me my level 3. The first 2 years was hard going because, again, your pride has to take a bit of a hit. You're there with the kids, and there's a difference between doing a course at an older age, because you want it, you appreciate, and it wasn't there when I was younger. Yeah. So my quest for that knowledge was so great. Yeah. There's the kids, it's like how I was when I was younger. Oh, no, what you do?
Well, education is wasted on it. Yeah, everybody says it. Yeah. And of course, you just don't realise at the time, do you? Yeah. One of the things we often find with women in engineering is the gender pay gap. Have you experienced it?
Yes.
You have. Was it something you were able to challenge, or did you just have to accept it? I mean, or do you just vote with your feet? Or a combination of all of it.
It's funny, isn't it, Pay? Because you always, no matter where you work, it's like your pay is secret. When you go into the working world, you agree your contract, you agree your terms.
Yes.
And that's accepted. And then, of course, it's like, well, don't mention anything to anybody. No. And then as colleagues, you get talking. Yes. There's days you have good days, you have bad days. But ultimately, at the end of the day, you'll all be thinking, not being paid enough for this.
Yeah.
And of course, then, as you start trusting each other, because, again, in an environment where you can injure yourself, trust becomes a big part of it.
Yeah.
So once I got my level 3, and I knew now I was doing more of I was probably doing most of the reactives. And even the team would say, Jess, you do get the most reactives. I believe I'm being paid significantly less than my colleagues.
Yeah.
Can we address this? I'm just saying, just pay me the going rate, the same as my colleagues. It never happened. So I just said, well, you know what? I'll do everything. I will not fail at any of my reactors or any of my PPMs. I will still be proactive in the workplace. But I'm not going to bust a gut. When you talk about money, it's always hidden, isn't it?
Yeah.
So everybody's salaries are hidden.
Yeah.
So I also had an experience where I heard there's another female Sparky, Mighty, was coming on board onto the contract. And I thought, brilliant, this is going to be fantastic.
Yes.
Let's crack on. Let's show the world. And she came. She came and it sounds awful, but wow, where's your tools? Where's your uniform?
Yep.
And she had a big shawl on, and it was a cold day. So I thought, that's okay. But these are inside a building, it's warm.
Yeah.
Hot. And she said, I've got to change some lights. I said, okay. I said, well, I'll go and get the ladders and do this. And she said, oh, the floor's I said, no, it's a bit. And I thought, oh,
maybe not the industry for her.
Please, we've got to. It's not. It's not about fitting in, but where you go. If you're in hospitality, if you're in recruitment, you want someone who can pick up the phone.
Yeah,
who's not going to go.
Yeah, and also when you are a woman working in an industry which is so male dominated, you almost do have the weight of every other woman coming into that industry, because people will be looking at you. Well, okay, Doris. Let's see if you can do the job.
Absolutely.
Can women do this? And especially when colleagues encounter you for the first time, they're kind of looking at you. Can you do it? Can you? Because we don't think you can. And then when you can, all of a sudden they go, wow, well, maybe women can do this. And so I do think it's unfair. It shouldn't be like that. But I do think when you are a minority, you got to almost be standout, don't you? Especially at the beginning.
Wherever you choose to work or to be in life, you have to respect the environment.
Yes.
And you can't pick and choose the parts that you like. So in catering, you can't say, oh, you can do the bottling up, and say, oh, my nails, because they just, in hospitality, it's like, oh, it's just like, they haven't got time.
No.
So it's the same in the engineering.
Absolutely.
Had I been aware of the scope.
Yes.
And where it can lead you, where it can take you to, from running your own business to being part of a team.
Yeah.
The world is really your oyster.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for taking time to be with us today. Hearing your career journey, the challenges you faced, it really has been really interesting and really will be inspiring to others. Your entrance into your career has been so different from everybody else that we've spoken to, that it shows that you don't have to take that traditional kind of degree route to get a rewarding career in engineering. So thank you ever so much.